In a world where voices breathe life into pages, welcome to Sparrow's Realm. The story begins. The stage lights shone so intensely that they pierced Shen Yueru's eyes. The crowd noise swelled like a tidal wave, too loud, too wild, and too oppressive for her dazed brain. Her head pounded. Her body was strange. When she raised her hands, long thin fingers glimmered with nail polish. She stiffened. These weren't her hands. She wasn't even supposed to be here. She was meant to be. What was it? A crowded desk piled high with paper, perpetual overtime, acrid instant coffee. But now here she was on stage, watched by millions. Contestant Shen Yueru, the judge intoned into the mic, his voice thick with boredom. Your performance was listless. Did you lose your lines? Or do you not have any basic talent? The audience laughed. She's so embarrassing. How did someone like her get into this competition? Typical, living off her twin sister's fame. Compared to Shen Ruyin, she's literally trash. I feel bad they share the same face. Shen Yueru blinked. Shen Yueru? The name hit her mind, colliding with another tide of woozy memories. A plot rolled out, one she had read before sleep weeks ago. Twins. The beloved younger sister, Shen Ruyin, blessed with heaven's gift, talent, adored by the nation. The elder twin, Shen Yueru, destined as cannon fodder, lonely, ridiculed, a stepping stone for her sister's rise. The final memory stabbed like a knife. Shen Yueru's end came drenched in humiliation, abandoned, mocked until she vanished without glory. A chill ran through her spine. I've transmigrated into her body. In the background, in the shadows of the spotlight, her sister Shen Ruyin hid her fine smile behind a handkerchief. Her eyes shone with pretended sympathy, but lit up with furtive glee. With eyes, anyone could see how much she was enjoying seeing her twin break down. Elder sister, Ruyin shouted softly through the mic, faking innocence. Don't get too anxious. If you won't be able to perform, it's better that you resign rather than embarrass yourself. The crowd laughed louder, devouring it. Shen Yueru's heart had calmed, though. The fear dissipated, to be replaced by an odd serenity. A shimmer of silver brushed her eyes. The shadows around her trembled, coalescing into a floating mirror. In its reflection, she stood in herself, shrouded in unearthly light. A voice spoke softly, neither male nor female, serene yet authoritative. Rewrite your destiny. Each decision will polish your fate. Her lips rose. Sweetly. Serenely. If heaven itself had catapulted her into this tale, then this time, she would not be the laughingstock. She would slap fate in the face. The host coughed, fidgety. Shen Yueru withdraw?
No.
Her voice was like a velvet bell, steady and unflappable. I haven't even started. Whispers ran like waves. Even the judges moved with interest. Music swelled. The orchestra had been on the verge of ending her performance early, but she stepped forward with confidence, each step elegant, precise, natural, like the rhythm of breathing. Her lips parted, her voice soaring into the sweetest of sounds. What should have been awkward and off-key flowered into something vibrant. Her words encircled the hall like threads of silk, soothing, seductive, commanding. Each note reached straight into the listeners' hearts. Audience laughter faded. There was a stunned, raw silence, as if a spell had been woven. Even the judges' pens paused mid-scribble. Shen Yueru's eyes swept the rows of faces, doubters, mockers, enemies, her smirking little twin sister, and her smile grew. The power of the mirror realm swelled, infusing emotion into every note. When she finished, the auditorium was transformed utterly. Strangers' eyes shone with tears who, only moments before, were mocking her existence. Then applause. Not the polite claps, not the measured acknowledgement, but a cymbal's crashing sound that rolled and reverberated through every recess of the hall. Impossible, Shen Ruyin breathed, her knuckles white-knuckled as she clutched her gown. All those masterfully choreographed humiliations had fallen apart. Shen Yueru swiveled partially around, confronting her sister's immobile face with a soft, beaming smile. Little sister, she whispered gently, though the microphone picked up every syllable. It appears you underestimated your elder sister. And at that instant, the tale's very first flip bloomed. The overlooked twin had woken. The crowd was still abuzz when Shen Yueru left the stage. With each step, she was followed by a sound of assurance, her heels tapping like the drums of a triumphal procession. Formerly sneering crew members now gazed at her as though she had bewitched them. But in the wings, the tempest was building. Cut the flattery. Shen Ruyin spat the moment her older sister came on set, that flawless smile curving into one the cameras missed. What was that bit of business just now? You swiped my spotlight. Shen Yueru tilted her head, looking at the sister who had her face, but not one scrap of her poise. Ruyin's lovely face contorted in jealousy, her painted lips quivering. Stole. Yueru said calmly, her voice light, as if talking about the weather. I simply acted, Ruyin. If your spotlight is so delicate, maybe it was never yours to start with. You! The younger twins' trimmed fingernails bit into her palm. But before she might lash out again, a shimmer of silver light danced before Yueru's vision. The mirror realm recurred, hidden from all but herself, its glass-like surface softly aglow. Pulsing across the reflective glass were the words, "First trial complete, performance quality, excellent audience impact, astonishing reward granted, skill, heavenly voice, level 1. Shen Yueru's heart leaped. Suddenly, she felt the heat settle in her throat, her vocal cords shifting subtly, vibrating with power. She knew instinctively. Any performance she ever delivered from this point forward would have an irresistible harmony that reached listeners so much deeper than technique. Thus the mirror realm really pays for my decisions. Ruyin's stinging voice brought her up short. Don't get so excited. One small fluke doesn't qualify you as a star. She came in close, her own breath scorching with venom. I'll destroy your career before it ever takes off. Shen Yueru's mouth crooked into a smile. How predictable. She walked around her sister, not noticing the rage quivering Ruyin's body. Then, as if recalling something, she spun back to her, smiling sweet enough to cut glass. Little sister, you must watch what you say with threats. Her eyes sparkled in the light of the dressing room. After all, the cameras are omnipresent. Two staff members coming around the corner halted, their eyes wide. They had heard every last word. Ruyin's face turned white. Shen Yueru sipped in the instant, her heart flowering with contentment. No room for fury. No room for frantic scrabbling. Delicate, calculated gestures could bring down her sister's skillfully constructed facade. The system beeped again. Face slap event registered reward. Audience popularity plus 500 system points plus 10. Shen Yueru's smile grew a fraction wider. It had taught her one thing. In this universe of flashing lights and concealed blades, she would rise not as victim, but as hunter. And this was merely the start. The studio reeked of fresh paint and aged dust. Shen Yueru waited at the door of the drama studio, a plain script gripped tightly in her hand. The cover had just 2 words written on it in bold: Autumn Tears. It was meant to be her second chance after the talent show, a minor role set up by her sister's agency. But the memories captured from Xingyue's body revealed the truth. The role was a trap. The role was created to be plain, forgettable, and completely overshadowed by Ruyin, who had gotten the female lead. Once it had opened, Shen Xingyue was to be disposed of like an accessory. Shen Yueru smiled weakly. So this is your scheme, little sister? To make me your plain background? Within the studio, people whispered in her ear. That's Shen Xingyue, right? She's just riding on Shen Ruyin's coattails. Yeah, her part's really small. The director only consented because of Ruyin's presence. She should thank her lucky stars she's even here. Their words overflowed with contempt. But Shen Yueru merely stood up straight and strode silently to her dressing room. Sabotage on set. When it came time to film, it wasn't long before she sensed something was amiss. Her costumes were rumpled, in contrast to the immaculate wardrobe designed for Ruyin. Props went missing. At one point, even a side actor accidentally poured tea on her lap, destroying an entire shot. Ruyin turned up on set a few minutes later, coiffed like a goddess, feigning shock. Ah, elder sister, how thoughtless of them. Don't worry. Some individuals are just not cut out for acting. The staff chuckled. Shen Yueru merely sat, wiping away the tea stains with a handkerchief. Her smile was peaceful, eyes inscrutable. Do you think these childish tricks will unsettle me? The glow of the mirror realm flashed before her eyes once more. Side quest triggered. Act with genuine feeling requirement. Turn a supporting role into a show-stopping masterpiece. Reward. Acting aura +1 enhanced immersive skill. She accelerated her heartbeats. A challenge and a chance. The breakthrough performance. The afternoon setting was straightforward. Shen Yueru's supporting character was supposed to beg the heroine, played by Ruyin, and then die off stage. A couple of tearful lines. Easily forgotten. The director reclined in his chair, restless. Fine, just say the lines fast. The audience won't even notice the scene. But when filming began, Shen Yueru came out. Her eyes bore the burden of tears, her voice a thread of shudder. But deep down was the rawness taken from within herself. Every pause, every inhalation, cut like a sword of anguish. Even if my name is lost to memory, even if no one recalls a girl such as myself, please, let my final request find you. The equipment fell quiet. Crew members who had yawned before now sat forward with a jerk, tears welling up in their eyes. Even the sound engineer forgot to inhale. At that moment, Shen Yueru was not just a secondary character. She was heartbreak personified, a flame burning brightly, even as it got doused. The director sprang out of his seat, yelling, "Cut!" That was extraordinary. Gushing murmurs swelled. Was that acting? She felt more real than the lead. I've never cried over a side character before. Shen Yueru, could she actually become a star? Across the stage, Shen Ruyin's face twisted. That scene was supposed to highlight her. Yet somehow, her sister had stolen all the attention again. The mirror realm shimmered with light. Quest completed. Perform with true emotion, reward. Acting aura plus 1 new skill. Immersion, level 1. Bonus. Audience popularity plus 1,000 heat coursed through Shen Yueru's chest. She could feel it, the power to get into a role fully, to attract every observing eye onto her. She caught Shen Ruyin's incandescent glare from across the set. Her mouth smiled. Little sister, she thought in her heart, if you wished for me to be your background, you should have picked someone else. Because I was born to overshadow you. And so, what was intended to be a role of burial turned out to be the fuel for her real ascendancy. Fame was two-edged. Just a day since Yueru's spooky performance went viral with short videos uploaded by crew members, her name surged in trending searches. Fans branded her as the forgotten gem, with remarks online. How could the supporting actress be this talented? She stole the show from the lead. Shen Yueru's eyes alone told the whole story. Perhaps the elder twin isn't rubbish after all. But acclaim was mixed with venom. Hashtags poured in shortly, distorting into calumny. Hashtag Shenxinga steals scenes, hashtag desperate twin for attention, hashtag Ruyin the only star in the space of an hour, public opinion turned. Internet forums accused Yueru of bribing crew members for improved camera shots. Others blamed her for copying actors' styles. Others went even further, making up stories that she slept around with staff to rise up. Yueru scrolled through her phone in silence, lips twisting slightly. The phrasing was too tidy, the timing too deliberate. Ruyin, this one has your mark on it. She didn't require evidence. The mirror realm glowed softly, verifying her suspicion. A flash of gold text materialized. Main quest triggered. Survive your first scandal. Mission. Turn rumor into fame. Reward. Ability, silver-tongued, level 1. Shen Yueru's eyes sparkled. So, a duel of tongues this time? I see. The press conference Ruyin's firm quickly organized a press conference, feigning to clarify misunderstandings. Flashes went off, mics clicked. Fans packed, half shouting Ruyin's support, half jeering at Yueru. On stage, Ruyin wore a spotless white dress, slender like a snow lotus. Timing impeccable, she wiped her eyes with a lace handkerchief and delivered an ethereal voice. My sister has struggled so hard, she whispered. But the rumors, they might be true. I just hope that she thinks carefully and doesn't damage the reputation of the industry. As her little sister, I can only bite back in silence, gasps. Journalists wrote madly. The hook was baited. All eyes were on Shen Yueru. She stood up slowly, every step elegant. In contrast to Ruyin's extravagant gown, she was dressed in a simple, tailored suit, slim, crisp, authoritative. Her voice was soft, yet rang clear through the hall. Reflect? Yes. I did reflect. And I realized something important. She paused, gaze sweeping across the flashing cameras, eyes luminous with quiet certainty. I realized sincerity cannot be bought. If my work moved you, it was because my emotions were real. She raised her phone and clicked a button. Behind her, the screen flickered to life, running raw behind-the-scenes shots taken by personnel, her practicing alone under dim lighting, diligently repeating lines, even cleaning her own soiled costume with caution. No shortcuts. No pathos. Just doggedness. Unadulterated and genuine. Tears don't lie, Yueru whispered. If those who saw me wept, then can you call that plagiarism? The hall went wild. Reporters rushed, Fans shrieked, momentum shifted. Comments online detonated. She worked that hard? I take back all my hate. Meanwhile, Ruyin just lounges in luxury and cries victimhood? The older twin is the real hidden pearl. Ruyin stood frozen on stage, her mask shattering. The mirror realm radiated with a victorious chime. Quest completed. Survive your first scandal, reward. Silver-tongued, level 1, bonus. Public popularity skyrockets. A subtle warmth spread through Yueru's throat and tongue. Her words now carried a natural persuasiveness, every sentence laced with conviction. The cameras focused solely on her, as if Ruyin had ceased to exist. Finally, Yueru turned to her sister, smiling with serene sweetness. Don't worry, little sister. From now on, I'll make sure neither of us embarrasses the industry again. Her words were polite. Her tone was devastating. The audience burst into laughter, applause, and whispers. And Ruyin, shaking with anger, sat stiff, shamed before the whole nation. The older twin had retaliated. The city skyline shone like spilled jewels beyond the glass walls of the hotel. Shen Yueru remained unmoving in the corner of an opulent banquet hall, water glass in one hand as champagne bottles chimed beside her. The air stank of perfume, money, and whispers. This was not a typical gathering, it was an industry networking banquet for the elite. Pretty young actresses, boyish idols, and veteran directors exchanged smiles. But under the sparkle was the code of survival that went unspoken. The host for tonight was Chun Guang, a millionaire CEO whose entertainment properties spanned 3 networks. His name alone had the power to kill or make careers. As Yueru stepped inside, she could sense dozens of eyes shift in her direction, some jealous, some curious, some hungry. The recent scandal she had turned into fame had elevated her standing, and many desired to discover if it had been chance or real strength. Miss Shen, a man's silken voice slid into her ear. Chun Guang himself appeared, his imposing frame blocking the light overhead. In his 40s, with sharp eyes and a false smile, he exuded wealth and control. I've been hearing your name a lot recently. Quite impressive for someone so new. His gaze roamed over her like a hawk inspecting prey. I have a new project coming, he continued smoothly, lowering his voice. A prestigious role. If you want it, there are favors you could do. You understand how this industry works, don't you? Every syllable dripped with arrogance. Around them, actresses turned away, their expressions pitiful, knowing too well the game being played. Shen Yueru gazed at her water glass, the face reflected in it serene and tranquil. The mirror realm burst into existence. Major quest triggered. Resist the hidden rules task. Spurn corruption without obliterating opportunity. Reward. Authority aura plus 1 special ability. Evidence weave. A small, gentle smile twisted her lips. So this is the next test? Better. Chun Guang arched a brow. What is it? Cat got your tongue? Don't tell me that a little girl like you still thinks talent is what makes this company go round. There was a pregnant silence for an instant, interrupted only by the quiet rustle of silk. Then Yueru placed her glass carefully on the table. CEO Chen, she said softly, her words ringing out over the room. I do understand how the business world works. I also understand that it pays off those capable of acting from their heart, instead of those who bribe with their flesh. Gasps were heard. A couple of guests almost choked on their beverages. Chun Guang's smile tightened, but Yueru went on, her eyes shining like cold starlight. See, I came prepared tonight. She drew out her phone, tapping on the screen. On the banquet's huge projector, covert footage rolled. Segments she had stealthily captured of Chun Guang mumbling the same offers to 3 other young women earlier that night. The banquet hall exploded. Shouts, gasps, whispers. Disguised reporters promptly lifted their cameras, flashes blinding. Chun Guang sprang forward, face red. You. But security swooped in, whispering into their earpieces. Higher management had heard enough. Rumors of destroyed partnerships went viral. Chun Guang's kingdom shook that night. The mirror realm pulsed victoriously. Quest completed. Resist the hidden rules. Reward achieve skill. Evidence weave. Level 1 acquired. Effect. Instinctively sense and gather hints of lies, corruption, or betrayal. Warmth spread as clarity saturated her senses. For the first time, the industry's dark alleys did not seem like labyrinths. She could view all threads of deceit, ready to be tugged. Applause burst, slow but building. A director emerged, smiling. Miss Shen, I admire your grit. Maybe you'd be ideal for the heroine of my next historical epic. Reporters engulfed her as she bowed graciously, face calm. Shen Yueru lifted her head, voice calm for everyone to hear. The true rule of this business is easy: strength. I will not yield to anything else. And Shen Ruyin, cloaked in darkness, watched with nails biting bloody crescents into her palms. Yet another one of her cleverly laid traps had become a shining arena for Shen Yueru. The older twin was not just getting by, she was starting to rule. The aftermath of the banquet resonated through every media source. Screens seared with overnight headlines. Shen Yueru shatters CEO's reputation on live TV. The queen of entertainment's ascension? Elder twin trumped Shen Ruyin at every turn. The internet simmers, fans torn but increasingly turning to Yueru, inspired by her courageous defiance. Industry predators cowered meanwhile, at least in public. But as the din of the world ripped open, Shen Yueru remained still in her dressing room the following morning, combing through her script. Her acting of serenity was second nature, but beneath it lay fatigue that needled her bones. She had engaged in battles in the limelight and darkness both. Her transmigration ability was immense, yet here she was still merely one woman. A gentle knock came at the door. "Come in." Li Jingshan entered. Her boss, a man once written off as a pushover, ridiculed by co-workers for appearing too soft and too naive to make it in the cutthroat business. Yet to Shen Yueru's discerning eyes, there was more steel beneath his unassuming bearing. He put down a hot ginger tea in front of her.
"You didn't eat last night. Drink this before you pass out on me."
She raised an eyebrow, lips twisting. "Since when did you turn into a mother hen?" "Since my artist decided to declare war on CEOs for breakfast," he answered dryly, but the edges of his mouth showed a minute smile. The room settled into a comfortable quiet. For the first time since her transmigration, Shen Yueru felt safe. Not because she couldn't take care of things herself, but because someone else had her back without attempting to manage her. Her eyes gentled. "Thank you." Li Jingshan sat across from her, watching her with eyes that were not calculating or hungry, just respectful. "I don't want thanks. I just want you to keep moving forward. Don't let them bring you down. I'll deal with the shadows if you deal with the spotlight." The words hit something deep. Her heart, so long cold to games of deception and humiliation, stirred with a warmth she did not recognize. She turned away hastily, sipping her tea to conceal it. But the mirror realm glimmered dimly behind her eyes. Hidden bond detected. Guardian of fate, Li Jingshan affinity +10 potential path. Ally partner? Her lips curled. So even the system sanctions him. Elsewhere, in a luxury penthouse, Shen Ruyin hurled a glass against the wall, shards scattering like her pride. "How?" she shrieked. "How does she keep turning everything around?" Her agent tried to soothe her, but Ruyin's eyes glinted with malice. "Fine. If she refuses to stay in the shadows, then I'll ruin her in the light." She took out her mobile, her voice as cold as ice. "Leak the photos. The ones of her with that so-called manager. Let's see how long her saintly image lasts." Storm approaching in the studio. Oblivious to the knife being sharpened for her, Shen Yueru read silently under the morning sun. Li Jingshan rearranged her schedule, careful and meticulous. But underlying tension clung to the air, the foreshadowing of a scandal wrapped in sugar, laced with lies. And when it arrived, she would have to draw on more than courage. She would have to use her heart. The morning dawned with a storm. Shen Yueru woke up to the ring of her phone buzzing incessantly on the bedside table. Dozens of missed calls and messages poured in before she even swiped the lock screen open. When she finally tapped open the first news notification, her eyes narrowed. Headline shrieked. Secret romance? Shen Yueru and her manager caught in intimate photos. Elder twin climbs the ladder with love, hidden rules in disguise. So the sweet-faced starlet wasn't innocent after all. Uploaded were grainy but evocative images of her and Li Jingshan. Images from late-night script sessions, a time when he leaned in close to indicate lines, or when she had taken tea, with a demure smile. Angled, cropped, and captioned, they shouted something decidedly more scandalous than reality. Li Jingshan barged into her suite not long after, his normally calm face dark with rage. "These are doctored. I'll get a lawyer." But Shen Yueru raised a hand, her expression calm, eyes glinting with amusement rather than panic. "No need. Let's not extinguish the flames. Let's add oil." He froze. "What?" Her lips twitched. "Scandal only harms those who deny it too desperately. But if we turn the narrative, each insult becomes applause." The mirror realm glimmered in ascent. Crisis quest triggered. Romance trap, goal. Turn negative scandal into positive public favor. Reward, charm aura +1 special voice skill. Captivation. The press response by noon, a horde of reporters swarmed the studio entrance, like hungry wolves. Reporters pushed microphones forward. Miss Shen, do you own up to the gossip? Is your boss your secret lover? Did he leverage his capital for your career? Are you merely another starlet living off secret rules? Everyone's gaze was cold, ravenous for vulnerability. Shen Yueru walked delicately into their mess, wearing not dainty silk but clean white shirt and black skirt, her plainness glowing. Her voice was honey, smooth, rich, generating quiet. Everybody asks me if I am in love. She stopped, lips spreading in the slightest smile. I'll say this simply. Yes, I am in love. There were gasps. There were shouts. Cameras popped like lightning. Reporters huddled, so near their knuckles turned white. But her voice came like velvet steel as her next words rang out. I am in love with acting. With the stage. With every character who lives and breathes through me. That is my only romance, the one I have vowed to give my life to. The aghast silence shattered into applause. Even doubting faces relaxed, carried along by her passion. Her words, born on her new captivation skill, vibrated with earnestness, striking even the frigidest onlookers. But Yueru wasn't done. As for my boss, he has remained by my side not through love, but allegiance. We fight, work, and survive together. If that strikes others as suspicious. She leaned her head to the side, smile as sweet as a knife. Then I'd recommend they learn how to treat their subordinates better. Laughter spread through the hall, light, sincere. Rumor had been transformed into admiration in one motion. The mirror realm rang out. Quest complete, romance trap, reward, charm aura +1 captivation unlocked. Bonus, fan loyalty increased massively. Online reaction burst out. She turned a loaded question into poetry. I actually cried over her declaration of love for the stage. Her aura outshone the press themselves. I believe her. Shen Yueru bowed gracefully, then moved aside, each step glowing. Before reporters came to their senses, they weren't mocking. They were applauding. In the shadows from the penthouse suite, Shen Ruyin hurled her tablet against the wall. Observing the fans pour towards her poor elder sister's side, her fury burned brighter. Regardless of how you spin it, elder sister. She growled at the glowing screens. I will rip off that smile of yours, face by face, smile by smile. But Shen Yueru, stepping out into the sunshine, was certain. This was only round 2, and she had no idea of losing. The airport was a whirlwind of blinding flashbulbs and raucous calls. Shen Yueru, wearing a sweeping trench coat and oversized shades, dragged her suitcase steadily across the terminal. Under the cover of style and composure, her heartbeat pounded with silent tension. Her goal was a high-profile foreign audition for the movie Crown of Ashes, a period epic that would be a worldwide hit. It was the type of venture that could catapult a star into the international arena and into the world's spotlight. But in the internet chat rooms and industry gossip, the rumors buzzed louder than the motors of the outgoing planes. Shen Yueru? Competing overseas? She doesn't speak standard English even. Ridiculous. Perhaps her sister paid her a spot. Foreigners will mock her. Shen Yueru listened to each scathing comment with serene eyes. Her lips slightly curled as the mirror realm glimmered. Global quest triggered. Win a broad challenge. Execute perfectly in front of international judges. Reward, global prestige +1 synchrony of languages. Yueru's heart beat faster. Every mission was honing her sword, steeling her for a future that extended far beyond lights and stages. Prejudice on the foreign stage, the audition room was cavernous, its ceiling resonating with the metallic ring of footsteps. Dozens of hopefuls from around the world stood along its velvet borders. Blonde-curled, towering actresses, porcelain-complexion competitors with decades of overseas education, smirking idols who sneered at seeing a young woman from the Orient. When Shen Yueru announced herself, one of the other contestants snorted loudly. Another foreign face attempting to steal roles. See if you can pronounce the script even. The judges themselves, while professional, could not suppress a glimmer of doubt. One whispered, believing she would not be able to hear. Pretty, likely only for decoration. Next. But Shen Yueru merely bowed her head slightly, calm as stagnant water. The trial when it was her turn, she was given her script, a queen's farewell monologue just before she tumbled. Complicated, emotional, punctuated with sorrow and passion. The script was in English, a language her body barely recalled. She breathed in, deep, calm. The mirror realm pulsed. Heat filled her tongue and throat. Words became threads of silk on her lips, clear, musical, faultless in rhythm. The system's blessing of language synchrony blended with her will, sweeping aside obstacles. The judges stood up at once.
No hesitation. No faltering.
But above fluency, her delivery had raw emotion. Each syllable throbbed with mortal loveliness, her voice quivering in grief, as if she actually wore the crown of ashes on her brow. Her arm rose like a king confronted with destruction, her eyes glinting with unshed tears but burning deep. When she spoke her last line in a whisper, the hall was consumed by silence. Even those who had jeered her ducked their heads, moved. The chief judge, a man notorious for brutal criticism, stood up, applauding slowly. His words lashed like lightning. Out of all candidates today, she is the only queen I saw. Applause thundered. Reporters wrote furiously. Competitors went pale. Each of them, one by one, found their sneers evaporating into grudging admiration. The mirror realm rang. Quest accomplished. Conquer overseas. Reward. Global prestige plus 1 skill acquired. Stage sovereignty. Effect. Aura demands attention and respect on any stage, anywhere. The backlash at home news burst upon both continents. International headlines heralded her. Eastern actress mesmerizes with Queen's monologue. Critics aghast, outdoing native speakers. But back home, the reaction was mixed. Fans celebrated, but Shen Ruyin's studio fanned resentment. Articles appeared accusing Yueru of overacting, of being disrespectful to Western traditions, of somehow using her nationality as a gimmick. From her penthouse, Shen Ruyin hurled her wine glass against the marble. Over the seas, under the seas, I don't care where she goes. I'll still drag her down. A queen's silent vow that evening, Shen Yueru was on her balcony, gazing out at the foreign city lights, alien stars, yet an identical sky. Her reflection glimmered palely in the glass railing, serene, shining, unbreakable. She took a sip of tea, feeling the mirror realm warm and thrum in recognition. With each step, with each foe, my crown becomes heavier, she thought. And I will bear it until none will dare to mock at my name once more. The older twin had crossed beyond her country. She was now walking into the world. Storm-washed night, neon lights bleeding across rain-glossed streets. Shen Yueru walked back to her hotel room abroad to discover the city itself whispering against her. All screens flashed with headlines. International star Shen Yueru exposed. Secret contracts and bribes. Did the twin rise through deception? Doctor documents. Staged videos of her signing agreements with shadowy investors. Edited footage splicing her voice into falsehoods. A snare of flawless forgery. And this time, rumor was not enough. It carried the gravitas of documents, figures, and faces. Center to it all, Shen Ruyin posed in front of cameras at a competing press conference, mimicking tragic tears. My sister. She strained, voice shaking. I never wished to believe it. But the proof is too overwhelming. For the sake of our family, I can only keep myself distant. The audience gasped, rocked again to sympathy the younger twin. Shen Ruyin's performance was perfect, an angel condemning a devil, a pure victim wronged by blood. But Shen Yueru's eyes were as tranquil as stagnant water. The mirror realm in front of her glowed like broken glass, words burning across its face. Final quest triggered. Fate of the twin star mission. Uncover truth. Remove curse. Reward. Utter freedom. She let out a slow breath. The final test, the press confrontation the following morning, she strode into the international press room. Lights blinded, microphones bellowed, reporters leaned forward armed with questions honed like razors. Miss Shen, are the documents authentic? Did you advance solely through corruption? Did you violate the industry's trust? Is your sister's testimony authentic? Yueru stood at the podium, her white dress shining like untarnished snow, her eyes unblinking as glassy ice. For an instant, silence. Then she spoke, voice gentle but cutting. Yes, there is a fraud. Gasps crackled through the crowd. Ruyin's lips curled slightly, triumph sweet on her lips. But Yueru's next words rang like a judgment bell. And that fraud is not me. The projector next to her burst into light. With a serene wave of her hand, Shen Yueru revealed the evidence she had woven through the mirror realm's gift. Not only documents refuting hers, but digital footprints exposing Ruyin's whole operation, bribes paid to editors, screenshots of Ruyin's managers arranging the forgery, time-stamped clips of her plotting in covert allegedly. The room dropped into deadly silence, each camera halted on Shen Ruyin's open eyes. Yueru's words cut into the stillness, sweet and deadly. We shared the same face when we were born. But with each lie you spoke, you cut a scar across it. Did you really believe you could bury me? When you were digging your own grave all along. Chaos erupted. Journalists threw questions like bullets, but not at Ruyin, who collapsed beneath the shining lights. Her angel act shatters, leaving a shaking form with nowhere to go. The mirror realm softly glowed for the last time. Final quest, stage 1 complete. Result, twin rivalry ended. Fate of Ruyin, collapse. Yours, ascension. Yueru shut her eyes for a moment. There was no happiness in the triumph. It was destined. Her lips moved weakly as she uttered in her heart, "Goodbye, little sister." The last curtain had fallen on Shen Ruyin. The award ceremony hall sparkled under crystal chandeliers. Each star, director, and critic sat waiting for one name, as if the whole world had leaned forward into silence. And the award for Best Actress goes to Shen Yueru. The hall exploded. Thunderous applause, flashes of cameras like bolts of lightning, and her name in chants shook the stage. Shen Yueru gracefully stepped up, train floating like moonlight, crown of glory shining above her dark locks. The woman once known as the cannon fodder twin now stood at the Empire's shining jewel. Her fingers glided over the golden trophy as she lifted it, stars sparkling in her eyes. The mirror world blazed within her eyes, more radiant than ever. Its broken glass melted at last, words carving on the falling light. Final quest, completed, fate rewritten. Curse broken. Reward, absolute freedom. Your destiny belongs to no one but you. The glass fragmented, falling into her heart like stars, disappearing forevermore. She no longer required its influence. She had controlled her destiny with her own decisions. Among the crowd, Li Jingshan stood, his clapping firm, gaze fixed on her with pride and something more. When she left the stage, hand shaking faintly from the tidal wave of her dreams taking form, he grasped her hand tightly in his. Photographers swarmed, flashes chaotic. But this time Yueru didn't retreat. She intertwined her fingers openly with his under the blinding lights. "Are you worried about scandal now?" he murmured with a soft grin. Her lips curved, radiant and serene.
No.
Because from now on, it won't be scandal. It will be history. The hall shook with applause as she lifted her trophy high, her voice carrying into eternity. No longer the forgotten twin. No longer the shadow. From this moment onward, I am the light. And within that radiance, Shen Yueru's name was etched into the stars eternally. If you enjoyed the journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more tales from Sparrow's Realm. Until next time, keep listening and let your imagination soar.